Before we get into today's episode, I want to tell you what this conversation is really about. If you have ever thought, I know what I should do, so why can't I just do it? If your brain treats peace like it's suspicious, if you can go from totally fine to spiraling in zero point 0.7 seconds because your nervous system is basically running Windows 95, this episode is for you. Today, I'm talking with Ellen Bereza. She is a certified hypnotherapist, a mindset strategist, and a speaker. Do those things sound familiar to you? And she is not here to sprinkle glitter on the hard things. She has lived through grief, through chronic illness, and the kind of reality that would make most people either shut down or just stay completely stuck in survival mode. And what I really love about Ellen is this: she is direct, she is grounded, she's got the science, the soul, and the no BS practicality. We talk about the thought chemical loop, why your body literally craves that familiar when the familiar thing feels awful, why just think positive is garbage advice, and how to start retraining your mind in a way that actually works, especially when life gets heavy. So, if you are ready for a conversation that is real, it is powerful and surprisingly hopeful, then let's get into it. Welcome to Mindset Medicine with Dr. Tanya Burfield, where science meets soul, burnout meets boundaries, and high achieving women finally stop performing and start healing. I am a resilience and transformation expert, nervous system strategist, and recovering overfunctioner just like you. This podcast is your sanctuary for breaking cycles, rewriting stories, and reclaiming your energy, your peace, and your power. Each week, we blend neuroscience, somatic practices, and spiritual truth to help you unlearn the noise and remember who you really are. You're not broken. You're breaking free. And this is your medicine. Hi, everyone. I have a special guest here with me today. I'm really excited about this conversation. The little bits of pieces that we've been picking up have been really interesting. So I think this will be a great conversation for all of you. So with me, I have Ellen Bereza. I'm going to classify her as a mindset strategist, a certified hypnotherapist, and a speaker. Not far from me. So we're in neighboring states, and she lives in an area that I absolutely love to visit. And so I find that really interesting too. I think Bruce Springsteen maybe talked about Asbury Park at some point. And so it's sort of a little bit well known for that.
Yeah.
So anyways, Ellen, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time. So let's get started with just tell me, like, who are you? Let's share with the audience, who are you? And we'll get to what do you do, but let's talk also about how you got there. What's your story?
Oh my gosh, my story's long. Do you want the Reader's Digest version?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so here's how I got to where I am today. My dad was sick from the time I was 10. He had multiple sclerosis throughout all my formative years. So that disease has always been in my life, and it was just an awful thing to experience.
Mm,
And
mhm,
long story short is my father died from MS when I was 22. And
mm.
then my mother died 2 years later, almost to the day, of breast cancer. So I was an orphan by the time I was
Wowza.
24. And if that wasn't yeah, isn't that crazy? I know, I know.
Yeah, that's a lot.
If that wasn't
Mhm.
tragic enough, 9 months after my father passed away, I experienced the first symptom of what I was later to discover was also
Mm,
multiple sclerosis. So I was in denial, complete denial, because I watched him from the time I was 10. I mean, within 12 years, the man was dead. So he progressed very quickly. And I just never, I mean, I'm a really high energy person. I'm only 4'10". I wore
mhm,
heels every day.
mhm.
I worked out with a personal trainer for 20 years. So I was fit, I was in shape. I was a biotech sales executive. So I'm running around in my little heels, calling on doctors and pathology labs and um, you know, C-level executives of hospitals even at some point. So, um, I ignored what was happening. They kept, medicines had just came out when I had the first symptom. I wasn't officially diagnosed until 6 years later when I got this other symptom, same symptom, optic neuritis, which cleared itself up in 2 weeks and I was fine. But then it happened again in 1999 and they were like, "Hey, there's these new drugs out. You should really go on them." I'm like, "Whatever." Denial. And so optic neuritis happened a few more times. I ended up going on in life. I ended up getting married and I had 2 children. And I was fine. For like 26 years, I was fine until I wasn't.
Mhm.
And then all of a
Mm.
sudden things started happening, and I found out because I fell. It was on St. Patrick's Day, but I wasn't really drunk, and I didn't know why, but I fell, and I got like a mild concussion, and that's when they were like, "Hey, you really have MS." Blah blah blah. I still didn't do anything about it. I was diagnosed with secondary progressive multiple sclerosis at this point because it had already
Mm.
advanced. And the bottom line is, um, my life was in an upheaval. It got really, really, really bad, so much so that I got to the point where I didn't wanna live anymore, and then I realized I had a decision to make. Either I could live in misery until I left this earth, or I could find a way to love my life as it is, even with the limitations and the symptoms and the awfulness, but find some joy and quality of life in the midst of it all. So I have 2
Mhm.
kids, and it I couldn't see leaving them. And at first I did it mostly for them, but it turned out to be all for me. Because I
Right.
searched everything high and low to help heal me outside of me. I went to every
Mm.
doctor you can imagine, chiropractors. I went to the Mayo Clinic. I went to see a functional medicine doctor in Missouri. I um I did acupuncture and Reiki and energy clearing. I tried every protocol. I tried every diet. I tried every supplement. Anything you can imagine until I realized that everything I was doing was outside of me.
Mhm.
No one and nothing could come save me but me. So I
Yes.
realized that I had to change the way that I thought about things, about myself, about change my perspective. And I dove deep into neuroscience. I became a certified hypnotherapist. These are things that had always interested me anyway, and I always
Mhm.
dabbled in them,
Yep.
not realizing how much I was into them. And
Mhm.
I even became an advanced student of Dr. Joe Dispenza. Do you know who Dr. Joe is?
You did not. I
Oh, yeah, I've
do
been
know
to
Joe.
several of his week-long retreats. I am
Oh
an
my
advanced student of his
goodness.
work, so I
Mm.
incorporated everything I learned. I mean, I studied Einstein and Tesla and all these all these things that all
Mhm.
these gurus were saying about ourself, not about
Mhm.
finding it. Listen, don't get me wrong, you need medication. I'm on the
Sure.
finally,
Yep.
after it
Yep.
took me 28 years, but I did go on the medication, finally. But, but it's just not it's about working with your own mind, and that's the bottom line of it,
Yes.
is how to work with your mind and not against it.
Holy moly, there
That's
is
the
so
yeah.
much in that very little. I mean, what was that 5 minutes that you just shared? There is so
Was
much
it?
there.
Sorry, it was a long
Oh
time, huh?
my gosh. No,
There it
no,
is.
that was fantastic. I love it. So that like you said so many things that I absolutely connected with. Number 1, our stories are not the same. Like, I'm not struggling with any kind of like disease or anything that would cause me to be debilitated in that way, like physically. But over my lifetime, I struggled with just this lack of joy or sense of, lack of sense of fulfillment. I always joke about this crown of denial that I wore. Like, I'm just doing the things, we're married almost for 30 years in
Like,
a couple
always
of
waiting for the
weeks.
other shoe to drop.
Right, but also, like, trying to figure out what's not right and how do I fix that without going internal. Because it's not about me, although I'm doing all of the things that you just said. I'm doing the Reiki, I'm doing the energy work. I also am a certified hypnotherapist. It's been years since I've used it in that way, but I went down all of those routes, and I don't just go do the thing. I have to learn the thing and then get certified in the thing and all of that. So, yeah, I totally hear you in terms and I also call myself a mindset strategist, but you're the only person I've ever come across that says that as well. And then I think it's funny because I've known of Joe Dispenza for quite some time. I started a deep dive last year, probably about 8 or maybe 10 or 12 months ago, not quite a year ago. I'm looking at the shelf. I've got 4 of his books sitting there that I went deep on and some of his meditations that I'm absolutely like, I can't get enough of
You
them.
gotta go
I
to
just
his
cannot.
retreat. It's
I have to.
mind-blowing. It is
Yeah,
mind-blowing.
I
I
have
was
to.
like, I come back a different person every time, you know?
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that so much. So
A
all of
and
that to say,
everyone there,
like,
there's like 2,000 people there. I'm sorry.
isn't
I'm
that
sorry to interrupt
no,
you,
that isn't
but
that
there's like
insane?
2,000 people there, and you can feel the energy. It's like
Right.
it's
Right.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and his stories, when you think about the stories that he tells in terms of the success of the people around him, it comes back very much to what I was thinking about what you said earlier, is they're so simple, right? Like, I just have to change the words in my mind, and then the impact of that change will change your life. It's so incredible that if you can be willing
Oh,
to
it's so
allow
much more than
yourself to
that,
do that,
Tina.
because I think that's the struggle, right? But share, like, tell me what's so much more.
Oh, I will. Well, here's the thing. Yeah, it sounds sweet. It's like, yeah, just change the way you think. Sure. Yeah, I'll just do that.
Right,
What you mean, like when I'm
right.
spiraling out thinking about all the things that I've done wrong and said wrong and all the things people have done to me, just change it? Okay, cool. Well, it doesn't work that way,
Mhm.
right? But when you
Yeah, no problem.
understand
Mhm.
how to do it, um, it's it real here's
Yes.
an example. And Dr. Joe teaches this too. Every thought you think creates a frequency that incites your brain to produce a chemical.
Mhm,
And so all our emotions are
mhm.
is our reaction to the chemicals that are coursing through our veins at any given time. So if you've always been thinking negatively your
That's
whole
so
life,
good.
usually based on an experience from childhood, not always, but most of the time, let's say something happens when you're a kid, and as a kid, you don't have the wherewithal to understand that adults are not perfect and we take on their opinions and their judgments and think that there's something wrong with us, so we're thinking bad thoughts about ourselves. And the more you do that and your body's producing those um stress hormones and the adrenaline and all the yucky chemicals, well, your body gets used to
Mhm,
them,
mhm.
and then your body wants them more and more.
Yep.
It's like it craves that hit. So beneath your awareness, you don't
Mhm,
even realize it, but for the rest of your life, you seek out other experiences to elicit that same chemical response because you crave it. So the only way to
mhm,
start feeling better is to shift that by practice. It's not like, oh, I can just change my
mhm.
thoughts. No, it's not easy because even when you try to
Right,
change your thoughts
right.
and you start having the better feeling chemicals, your body's like, this doesn't feel safe because your body tries to stick with what's familiar. I mean, that's from ancient
Mhm,
times and we haven't changed much since then.
mhm.
Even if feeling like shit is what's familiar, your
Yep.
body sticks with it because it knows it and it's become comfortable in its
Yeah, it's comfortable
discomfort.
there.
So
Mhm.
totally. And then when you try to
Yeah.
change and feel the good thoughts and get the oxytocin and the good chemicals running through your body's like, "Uh-oh,
Mhm.
it wants," not because it's punishing you, it's just so used to the yucky chemicals. It will remind you, "Oh, remember that thing you said the other day at work? Remember?" Like, it reminds
Yep.
you of things because it wants
Mhm.
that chemical hit. And all you have to do
Right.
without beating yourself up, that's a big one. You're not saying, "Oh, I'm so
Mhm.
stupid. Oh, I already messed up." No, you're just like, "Oops." You just redirect and say, "No, no, no. We're not thinking about that.
Yes.
We're thinking about that new car that I imagine that I'm already driving." It's just a matter of matching your thought and conjuring up the emotion as if what you want has already happened.
Yes.
When your
Yes.
heart and your
There it
brain are
is.
aligned, that's when you get the good chemicals. And even if you try
Yep.
to go back to the bad chemicals, that's okay. You just practice going back and going back and going back because eventually
Mhm,
you can do
mhm.
it a little more easily and a little more easily.
Yep.
And that's what I had to
Mhm.
learn. And that's what I teach. I created a workshop called Rehab for
Mm.
Overthinkers. I'm actually doing my
Oh,
fifth
I
one
love
in
that.
2 days on Thursday. Yeah.
I love it.
And so it's mostly for people with chronic illness. And most of the time, most people that come have MS because I have MS and they know that I get
Mhm.
their
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep.
But I'd like to branch out because so many people are overthinkers, not just people with chronic illnesses. But
Right.
and I
Right.
started out with just women, helping
Yep.
women with MS. But so many men reached out and are like, "Well, I'm an overthinker too. Can I come?" And at first I was like, "Well, women have different whatever." Because and then I thought, you know what? Why am I leaving these guys out? They really need help. So last one,
Right.
I allowed men to come in. And the funny thing is some people decide to work with me one on one afterwards. You don't have to. They get a lot out of the
Mhm,
workshop for free. But some people are like, you know what?
mhm.
I need a little bit. I need to change, and I need your help.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's men now that I'm finding more than women,
Really?
which is weird.
Huh. Isn't that
Yes.
fascinating?
Because men, they need to feel comfortable being vulnerable in front of someone. And I don't know what it is about me, but
Mhm,
men, when they talk to me, they're like, they're like, I feel really comfortable. They tell me things that they wouldn't tell anyone, not even their friends.
mhm.
And they
Yep.
want to fix it. and they want to know
Yeah.
what they can do. And I'm like, well, you don't need to be fixed. It's not about fixing. It's just about understanding how to work with your mind. Your mind is very simple. It's not as complex as they'd have you believe. You just have to work with it
Mhm.
and not against it, you know?
Right.
So,
And I think always we come back to the ease and grace, which you alluded to. Like, you don't beat yourself up when you don't get it exactly right. You have to accept that that
right.
happened, give yourself a little bit of grace, and then we move forward a little bit differently, a little bit better. And so I've always trained you do that by recognizing, you just recognize the thought that you just had. So if it is about you or it's about somebody else and it's
Yes.
maybe not as positive as it should have been, and I'm not talking toxic positivity. I'm just talking about like this is going down the road that we didn't mean to go. So you recognize that happen. All you have to do is say, "Yep, that I did that. It's okay." And now I'm going to
Yeah.
reprocess that thought with a different mindset and a different framework so that it's a little
That's
bit
all it is.
more
You're just
positive.
redirecting. Yeah,
And then tell
totally.
yourself, "Nice job.
Exactly.
I recognized that and I redid it. And I'm proud of myself for doing that."
Okay.
But what the other thing I'm finding that I think is really interesting is when you're talking to yourself, because one of the things you were referring to is neuroplasticity, right? Like the recognition of that
Yes.
discomfort or the comfort area, whether it is discomfort. And so, one of the things I'm recognizing, and I think is really important, is that when you are doing that work, you need to say your own name. So, it's not like you jerk, you just did this or you just said this. No, it's Tanya, it's okay, you did that. It's alright, but I think saying your name sort of solidifies it in a different
Yeah.
way. What do you think
I
about that? Mm.
I get that. I get that. I mean, I don't normally do that, but I don't feel like at this point, because 'cause I've been doing it so long that I don't have to, but that makes sense. In fact,
Right.
and I'm not
Mhm.
trying to tout all my other stuff here, but I teach that as a lesson. I actually have a course called Infinite Possibilities Playbook, and in that course, that
Oh,
there's a whole lesson where, I have people I actually learned the lesson from, what the heck's her name? Lisa Nichols. You know who Lisa Nichols is? She's a speaker.
mhm.
She's a wonderful African
Yep,
American woman. She's all bubbly and she tells her story. And so there's a lesson that I learned from her that I actually added to, where there's these three prompts. And I don't want to give it all away, but like one of them is
yep.
like, I forgive myself for, and then you end it with seven different endings, but you
Mm.
look in the mirror and you use your name. Like
Mhm.
I'd say, Ellen, I forgive myself for whatever. And then,
Yep.
like and there's three other prompts and you give seven endings and you do that. Even if it's just like once a day. If you skip a day, okay, no big deal. And that's what I tell
Yep.
people. Even when I do the hypnotherapy, it's the same thing. Um,
Mhm.
you use your name, yes. Obviously in the recording. I don't know what
Mhm.
type that you did, but I studied under Marissa Peer. So I did rapid
Mm.
transformational therapy. And
Oh,
so we
okay.
make a recording. Most oftentimes,
Mhm.
people's issues are resolved with just one session, no more than three.
Nice.
But
Mhm.
in the recording, it's like we use the name, we use the name, we use the name. Um, and they should listen to the recording for a minimum of once a day for 21 days. I make my client not
Yep.
make, but I tell them I'd like you to listen to it for
Mhm.
once a day for a minimum of 28 days, even if it's before they go
Mhm.
to bed at night, because your subconscious still hears it.
Mhm.
But even and if they forget a day, I'm like, it's not like, oh my God, I already ruined it. No, you didn't. It's
Right.
okay. Just go
Right.
back the next day. No big deal. There's no
Mhm.
rules in life. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously there's rules, but there's no rules like, "Oh, no, I missed it, so
Yep.
now it's all ruined." It isn't. It
Yeah.
isn't. Just be like,
No.
"I forgive myself. I'll listen to it tomorrow.
Yep.
Not a big deal."
Mhm. I'm doing the best I can. I think that's important too, just
And
to
that's
I'm
that's
doing the
it.
best that I can. Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah. I love that so much. So I wanna come back to this idea of, and which we did hit on it, but I wanna come back to it. So I think that women especially have such a hard time taking care of themselves. We have commitments to take care of everybody except ourselves. And so one of like in February, I think I mentioned earlier, my theme for the month is self-love. Like we can't we can't take care of everybody else. We can't show up as our best self if we are not stopping and focusing on ourselves for bits and pieces at a time. I'm not talking about like a spa day every week or, something
Why not?
exaggerated or I mean, do it if it works for you. I would love that, right?
Right,
If it's in your resources and
right.
time and money and all of those things, do it. I'm all for it. But that's not what you have to be doing. That's not the base. So I think that I, for a long time, really struggled with recognizing that I was the problem. I'm saying in quotes, I was the problem. It's not
Yeah.
my husband, it's not my kids, it's not my job, it's not the commitments, it's not the dogs, it's not the cats, it's not all of these things. It's me. And part of me was number 1, recognizing the expectations that I thought I was supposed to be living up to that were never expectations, that were really things I was supposed to be
They
living
were
up to. That
self-created.
had they are, but it's a narrative that I allowed to happen based on things that I heard or saw or generational kinds of things. I don't know, past life contracts, all of it.
Well, it's a
But
story that you tell
I
yourself. Our
yes,
whole lives run by that
100%.
story.
Right. And so I think like this whole like the concept of healing yourself and looking inward comes back to that, right? Like you have to decide what you want. You have to decide what's going to make you happy. And then you have to work towards that and not worry so much. I mean, worry, yes, but not so much about what other people are going to say, if they're going to judge you, if they're going to give you a hard time, because what will happen is you'll release the people that are not going to accept you for who you need to be. And you're going to call in the people that are going to accept you for who you need to be. Have you had experiences along those
Yes.
lines?
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, yes, and what I found is because again, like we talked about with, your brain producing the frequency that so
Mhm,
all the universe responds to is our frequency. It doesn't respond to our frustration. It doesn't respond to,
mhm,
I want this and I want that. The universe doesn't respond to that. The universe is Nikola Tesla said it.
mhm.
If you want to understand the universe, understand frequency, energy, and vibration. And that's
Yep.
everything is made up of energy and frequency and vibration. And so if you want to change those things, you have to change your frequency by changing the way that you think and changing the frequency that's created. So that's why they're like, you don't get what you
Mhm.
want, you get what you are. And what they're saying is the
Yes.
frequency that you're emitting, right?
Mhm.
But what you were talking about is, you know, giving from an empty cup. And that's what
Yes.
women tend to do. We give and give and
Mhm,
give. But that's why even on an airplane, and I'm sure you've heard this, they ask you to
mhm.
take the mask first if God forbid the plane goes
Yep,
down before you give it to
yep.
anyone else because we're taking care of everyone. We're not taking care of
Mhm.
us. And you kind of have to take care of yourself first because if you don't take care of yourself, you have nothing to give.
Right.
You know
Yep.
what I mean? And you're not giving to your best level that you could give.
Mhm,
But loving yourself is the number one thing. And some people find it difficult because, well, I had this happen to me when I was younger, or I did this, or I said this. It doesn't matter what has been done to you or said to you or what you've said or done. No
mhm,
matter what, you exist. And because you exist, you deserve all the beauty that life has to offer, period. Even
mhm,
murderers were children once. Even the awful sex offender, disgusting people were
mhm,
children once that just wanted to be loved and wanted to have someone to trust. And so we all become the story that we tell ourselves. And if you can
yep.
just shift that story, doesn't matter what happened to you. And it doesn't matter what you've done. Even if you've made mistakes, you're a human being, but you're also part spirit. You've got the monkey mind. That's what Dr. Joe
Mhm.
calls it. You've got to train the monkey
Yep,
mind, but you're also part of the universe. We're all one big collective. And so once
yep.
people recognize that, it becomes easier to care for yourself in a different way.
Mhm. That's so good. I love that so much. So I want to, this is what I find really interesting is like the challenge that you have been through in your life. So between losing your parents and then having your own diagnosis, I can't imagine how challenging that would be if you weren't doing this work. So, there's the before and the after of doing this work. So just talk to us about how did you get yourself to this point of being able to accept this, sort of working through it and then coming out in a way that is so what to me appears to be so successful for you.
Well, I'm human and I have bad days all the time. I have bad moments all the
Mhm,
time because even though I'm talking to you and I seem vibrant, I see my energy because I am, and that's who I am inside. I cannot walk without assistance. I can't leave my house without somebody helping me into a car, helping me walk, helping me move. I have got a
mhm,
lot of yucky symptoms. I have no balance for a long time. Well, we could talk about all the yuckiness,
mhm.
but the
It's
point
okay,
is,
yeah.
it gets to me. Even
Mhm,
this past weekend, my girlfriend had a birthday party, and it's been, it's really snowy, and the wind is
mhm,
biting, and I'm trying to make. I mean, I had my scooter, but I didn't realize I could take anyway. So before my ex husband, who's my best friend, helped me with the scooter, I had my rollator, and I had a cane because they had shoveled the walkway, but there's snow, and it's a skinny walkway, and he's helping me, and my whole right side of my body doesn't work well, and I mean, I
mhm.
literally was in tears because I'm like, "I can't do this, I can't do this." And then I'm like, because it's windy, it's like
It was
negative
cold, yeah.
degrees outside,
Mhm,
so cold.
mhm.
Um, but he was like, "Come on, you can do it." And there was 3 steps. He's like, "You just wait." Even though my right side's messed up, it messes up the left side too, so I can't really
Sure.
lift it. Anyway, I
Yep.
did it. And so instead of staying home and saying, "It's too hard," because it was freaking hard, but instead of staying home and
Mhm,
being like, "It's too hard. No, it's not. I'm not gonna go anywhere," and miss it, I did the hard thing because we can do hard
mhm.
things. I did the hard thing with help. And I got inside and I saw people I haven't seen in a while. And so while I'm sitting and chatting, there's nothing wrong. They can't see that there's anything wrong. Luckily for me, this is the way the disease
Yep.
expresses itself in me, is that you can't tell, you know?
Right,
And
right.
so I enjoyed myself and I had fun and I had some great conversations and I was talking to people who I love that I actually met them because they are the parents of somebody that my daughter went to school with. My daughter's a freshman in college now. But so I've known them
Mhm.
for many years since my daughter was in grammar school. Turns out, like, crazily enough, they were at the same Red Hot Chili Peppers concert that I was at in 1996 at Nassau Coliseum, and I'm like, "What?" Like, just random things, and I was like, "I'm so glad I came tonight because it was just fun," and,
Mhm.
so I did the hard thing so I could get the
Yep.
quality of life, and
Yeah.
that's what I really wanna hit the point about is, like, this disease sucks, and I am
Mhm.
still upset all the time. It's not like,
Yep.
"Oh, my life's so great now, and I'm healed, and don't worry, you could do it too." I don't lie. I'm very
Yeah.
straight up with people, like, it takes practice and it takes work.
Mhm.
When I'm feeling down and I feel myself in that spiral, one of the things I teach is something I learned from Abraham Hicks. It's the 17-second reset, where
Mhm.
you close your eyes, you set whatever it is that you want. Let's just say, I don't say, "I wanna heal," heal, because what does that mean? And Dr. Joe always
Yep.
says that you don't wanna heal, you wanna change. So,
Yep.
usually I'm just like, "Okay, I just wanna feel good." So I think about something that makes me happy. I don't care if it's a Dave Chappelle comedy routine. I don't whatever.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
about or I think about, going on a vacation.
Yep.
And then I conjure up the emotion as if it's already happened. And it's hard to do for some people, but I'm like, keep practicing.
Mhm.
Don't beat yourself up. You can do it.
Start small.
So I
Mhm.
conjure up the emotion. Yeah. I imagine myself on the beach. I imagine what it smells like. I mean, I imagine all the senses, and that's something else we're going to talk about is the senses. But I
Mhm.
imagine how I feel and even if it's just for 17 seconds and then 34 seconds and then 58 seconds, I'm like, it's so good. And
Mhm.
that sends the better feeling chemicals coursing throughout my body, and I feel better. It's not like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're lying, you're faking it."
Mhm.
I'm not faking it. I'm practicing the
Mhm.
future that I wanna live. That's the
Exactly.
difference.
Yeah, and making the best of what you have, right? Which is what it comes down to is
Yeah.
not sort of wallowing in self-pity and, like, all of those kinds of things, but accepting
Gets you
where we're at and
nowhere.
making the best of it. Mhm.
Yeah, and, I wanna
Yeah.
point something out about the 5 senses we were talking
Mhm.
about. Everybody's
Yep,
like,
yep.
"How do you do that?" Like, obviously, I'm suffering. I can see that my body doesn't work. I can feel that my body doesn't work, and I'm like, "Well,
Mhm.
experts agree that we actually perceive with our 5 senses alone less than 1% of actual reality. There's so
Mhm.
many things that we have no concept of because our senses are so limited. And when people are like, "What are you
Yeah.
talking about?" I'm like, "Well, let's talk about Wi-Fi for a second. Wi-Fi exists. I mean, your phone's pulling it in like magic. You can't see it. Gravity, you can't see it. Things fall from high to low. You can't see these things.
Mhm.
Humans can see a very limited electromagnetic spectrum. Um, there's dog whistles. Like we can only hear in a certain
Mhm.
range where other species can hear things, or like
Yep.
birds f- um, go south, like based on the electromagnetic. Like we can't feel certain things. So to think
Mhm.
that we can see it all just because, well, I can't see it and I can't hear it means that you're so limited. And people don't
Mhm.
recognize we're just human. We have so much, like, we are spiritual beings living in a human body, living a physical existence.
Yep.
But like Dr. Joe says, you've got to train your monkey mind. Just like
Mhm.
we train animals, like horses. He tells a
Yep.
story actually where he had a ranch and, he would try to train the horses and break the horses. And so when he's riding the horse, they would see the mare and they'd want to go over there. He's like, no, 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 no. Like you have to keep training them over and over and over. And eventually they
Mhm.
acquiesce and your mind does the same. It just
Yeah.
takes practice. Your brain learns by repetition. You don't give up and say, well, I worked out one day. Why aren't I buff? Like I thought good things one day. Why don't
If
I feel
only.
better? Right? It's just a
Yep.
journey. It's not a sprint. Healing is a
Mhm.
journey.
Mhm.
And so that's why
Mm.
if I
And can
never
yep.
heal, I won't be happy with that. I'll be I can't lie and say, "I'll be happy because I've learned," I'm not gonna fake the
Right.
funk with people. But
Right.
I know there's an inner knowing in me, I don't know how, and that's one of my favorite quotes is, "You don't have to know how, you just have to allow." But I don't know
Mm.
how, but
Mhm.
I believe in some way something's gonna change, and I don't care about wearing heels, but I'm gonna be walking around again, and I'm gonna be dancing again, which I
Mhm.
miss doing. I love to dance.
Yep.
I believe with all of my being that I'm gonna do it, but I don't say, "But how?" Because I already have the damage,
Right.
I already have because it's true.
Mhm.
I do already have the damage, that is true. But, like I said, like, we just know the what we want and the why, and that's our
Mhm.
job is to tune into that frequency, but it's
Mhm.
the universe's job, the how and the when. I can't decide the
Yes.
how. I can't decide
Yep.
the when, and I'm okay
Yep.
with that because I
Yeah.
believe that something's gonna change and it's gonna be
Mhm.
amazing, and if it doesn't, I still am gonna have fun and
Yep.
laugh and find things to
Mhm.
love and enjoy while I'm dealing with the bullshit. I hope you don't mind me
Mm.
saying that, but that's
Not
the
at all.
bottom line of it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I think especially for women, we have to let go of the control around the how and the why. You
Yes.
cannot control this to death.
Yes.
You have to let that go and just be willing. I love the quote that you shared about
That's
just
hard.
allowing it to happen 100%. I think that's
I've
probably
been a
because
control freak my entire life, Tanya,
oh,
so
same,
I get it.
same, and I think that's probably been my biggest lesson over the last couple of years is things aren't gonna happen on my way and my timeline and the way I choose for it to happen. They're going to happen and they're going to be my way or better, but I have to just be willing to allow for some of that
Yes.
fluidity. Mhm.
This or
Yeah, that's
something
great.
greater. You just have to it's about belief,
Mhm.
and everything that we do, our habits, our behaviors is based on our beliefs. If you shift your
Yes.
belief, that's when things change, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah, I believe,
Yeah.
and then you believe, you'll get what you
Yep.
want, and it might not look like you think it should.
Yep.
But that's okay, it's the
Yeah.
big scary what if. But what if this happens, and what if everything works out, right?
Exactly.
What if
It's gonna
everything turns
it
out
would
to
no
be okay?
it'll work out and it will also allow you to serve your purpose in a way that maybe you had no idea or no belief in yourself. So we don't always just trust that we have the potential or have the confidence to do the things. So if you're willing to just lean into that, it always works out so much better. I love
Right?
that.
It does. Even when it doesn't seem like it. Even like,
Mhm.
people that miss their flight and they're like, "Ah, I just wanted to get home." And, they find out
Mhm.
they can't go home till tomorrow, whatever it is, and they're freaking out. But then it turns out they're having a drink at the bar and they meet some dude and it turns out he missed his flight
Yep.
too and they fall in love. I'm just saying, like,
Right. Right.
you
Yeah.
never know what can happen. So the worst thing could turn out to be the best thing, right? How many
Mhm.
times in your life has something happened where it turned out days, weeks, years
Mhm.
later, thank God that that happened because then X, Y, and
Right.
Z, or I wouldn't have met you, or I
Yeah.
wouldn't have had this, you know? I was let
Exactly.
go
I
from my
didn't get
job, by
I
the
was just
way.
gonna say I didn't get
I
the
don't sweat.
job or I was let go from my job, all of those things, right?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
because of MS, I was starting,
Mhm.
and this is and I think we talked about this.
Mm,
Um, I was in one position for 5.5 years where I was out there with my heels and stuff, but then when things started going awry with the MS, I kinda had to take a remote position with a woman that I did not really like that well, and everybody in the company
mhm.
kinda knew that she's not that great, and she said to me on the at the interview, which was, online, she was like, "Well, you have to come to live." I'm like, "Well, I can't because I can't really walk." That was one thing, but then when we had the online interview, she said, "Listen, I'm looking for a candidate, not an accommodation."
Ugh,
So, I knew from that I know. I knew from
that
that
makes me
point it was
wanna
gonna be
throw
rough,
up. Yeah.
and they just wanted more out of me and more and more and more, and I
Mhm,
physically, mentally, I couldn't do it. So I started they call it quiet quitting. I did everything I
mhm.
had to do, but I was not going above and beyond, and it got to the
Yep.
point that I got let go because I had my hypnotherapy website, which PS, I already talked to, HR about and let them know, "Hey, I have a hypnotherapy website." "No problem." I
Mhm.
already had talked to it. I had had it already for 4 years, but because
Yep.
they did not like me not they were trying to rule me around, and then she had her 2 little minions trying
Mhm.
to rule me around, and I'm not one to be ruled around. They told the
I'm
CEO,
shocked.
like yeah, I know. They were like, they told the CEO about the website, and he's like, I knew as soon as I got on the call because they had scheduled a call with me, and I saw him and
Mhm.
human resources, and I was like, "Hmm," and he was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, I know that you talked to human resources about it, but you're not allowed to have it." I was like, "Oh," I said, "You know what? This is the" I said it on the call, "This is the best thing that ever happened to me because 'cause I'm finally free. I'm finally free, thank
Mm.
you." And,
Yep.
I tried to do a whole lawsuit thing, but in New Jersey, it's kind of an at-will state, so there
Mm.
was that, but, it's fine because you know what? Now I'm free to do what I want, and I don't have to answer to a corporate anymore. I never
Right.
fit there. I was always
Yeah.
told to literally, my bosses would say,
Yep.
"Can you tone down your personality?" "What?"
Oh, yeah. Mhm. Yeah, we're not
So,
doing that.
I'm not a cookie cutter gal.
I love that so much. So I think before like there's so much goodness there. I think that everyone will hear something that makes a lot of sense and especially in terms of like not looking outside of yourself, paying attention to what you could be doing, sort of rising up or leaning into your own confidence and then just sort of changing that shift. I love it all. This is so good. But tell us before we wrap up just a little bit about the workshop that you were talking about that you're offering and then anything else that you have that you want to share with the group.
Oh, sure. Well, they're gonna miss
Mhm.
this one, obviously, because we're recording and
Okay.
this will come
Yep.
out after.
Yep.
But I will be doing more. I want to try to do once a month. It's called Rehab for Overthinkers: From Chaos to Clarity. And in it, I
Mm.
just teach people what we talked about. I teach them about the thought chemical loop. I teach them how to change the station. If you're on a station you want to be on, how to change it. I teach them about their five senses. I teach them about feeling it first. People always wait for their life to change before they feel
Mhm.
better, but it doesn't work that way. You've got to
Doesn't
feel
work
better
that way.
first in order for your life to
Yep.
change. And
Yep.
anyway, so that's essentially what I teach people, especially people dealing with a chronic illness like MS or any chronic illness. Um, I teach them how to work with their mind instead of against it. And people when they attend, they always tell me, "I didn't know what to expect. I'm so glad I came," and blah blah blah. And I get all these
Mhm.
wonderful comments about it. But that's essentially what rehab for overthinkers is about: is teaching people that it's okay. You're not doing anything wrong. You don't need to be fixed. You just need to be shown how your mind actually works and how to work with it. That's it.
Mhm.
And love yourself in the process. It's very
Yeah.
simple. And so I do that, and, I teach them about all kinds of cool stuff. I mean, it's too much to start going into now, but, like, the reticular
Right.
activating system and all kinds of
Mm.
good
You're
stuff.
going deep. You're
And,
going deep. I love it.
I that's a yeah, so we're not gonna talk about that because then we're gonna go on a whole different tangent, but I teach
Right.
the stuff about that, and, it's really cool. I mean, I love it. I'm so glad that I decided to do it, and every time I do it, it just gets better and better, and more people get a
Mhm.
lot out of it, and I do it for free because even if people decide they wanna work with me after it, which they totally can, and that is a paid program, but what they get for
Mhm.
free is still a lot, and they can if they practice what I teach them, which is what we
Mhm.
talked about, they can
Yep.
live a better life without ever having to work with me. I mean,
Yep.
obviously, some people need, they want to go deeper and they want to do stuff
Mhm.
that has nothing to do with their illness that started way before the illness kind of reared its
Mm.
head in their life. But that's essentially it. So that's rehab for overthinkers, and that's it in a nutshell.
Yep.
I'm going to say that out loud too. Ellen
Yep.
Bereza, it's well, you can see that there, but it's
Mhm.
ELLEN, B as in boy, EREZ as in zebra A.com / the number 5 dash ways dash to dash love dash your dash life.
Perfect. I will also put both of those in the show notes so that anybody that wants them can click
Yeah,
on them easily.
totally.
Fantastic. Yeah. All right, Ellen, thank you so much. This was such a great conversation. I'm sure that everyone's going to go and check out your information and also just get all of the takeaways that they can because there's so much just fantastic information that you were able to share with us today. I appreciate it.
So much, Tanya. I appreciate it.
Mhm. I enjoyed that conversation so much. I think that is because Ellen matches my energy, and it was a lot of fun. It was such a powerful mix of truth, science, and heart, and I know someone listening needed this exact message today. So if that was you, if you were listening and thinking, okay, I needed that, I need support with my overthinking, my spirals, my nervous system, my mindset. Ellen has resources for you. Connect with her and get them. So there is the Rehab for Overthinkers. It's from chaos to clarity. And then her free guide, 5 ways to love your life, even when you're living with chronic illness. Both of those can be found at her website, ellenbereza.com. I will put the links to both of those in the show notes. And then if this episode hit home for you and you are realizing that you have been performing your way through life and that your nervous system is exhausted, I've got you too. Grab my book bundle, Radical Resilience Mindset Medicine for High Achieving Women to Heal Burnout, Rewire Anxiety, and Reclaim Your Calm. If you are ready to stop white knuckling your way through life and actually feel calm again, this is your next step. You can find that on my website, www.drtanyab.com. And if you are part of an organization, a leadership team, a conference, a college, a women's group that needs a grounded, powerful keynote or resilience, emotional intelligence, nervous system regulation, and leading without losing yourself, I'm available for you. All of those links will be in the show notes as well. All right, my friend, take what landed, pick one small thing that you're going to practice, and let that just be enough. Until next time, I love you.